From saloons to graveyards where evil sleeps, they walk amongst secrets they keep. Nightmare hunters with souls ablaze, cleaning up this town through the dark haze. Ladies of the night with eyes of red, vampires in the alleys where good men dread, wolfmen howling beneath the pale moon. But justice is coming and coming soon. From saloons to graveyards where evil sleeps, they walk among us, secrets they keep. Nightmare hunters with souls ablaze, cleaning up this town through the dark haze. Cryptids themselves, yet they stand tall against the darkness, answering the call for every lost soul, every whispered prayer. They fight for the light in the midnight air. From saloons to graveyards where evil sleeps, they walk among us, secrets they keep. Nightmare hunters with souls ablaze, cleaning up this town through the dark haze. The night is young, the hunt begins. For against the darkness where hope never ends.
Good evening, folks, and thank you for joining us on another Monday Mayhem. Me and Robbie are here tonight, but we got some good news and some bad news. Probably not going to get much writing done tonight. It is about 40 degrees in my office. The weather the last few days was up in the 70s, and then today the bottom fell out of it. It's 20 degrees outside, feels like 10, and the heat is not working in the back half of the house. I don't know why. But I do have a space heater, but I haven't dug it out yet. I got to go out in the garage and unbury it. So it is freaking cold back here. That's why I'm dressed up like Santa Claus, trying to stay warm. But Robbie's better off. He's got his air conditioner on. Robbie, how the hell you doing, brother?
Doing okay after yesterday. I'm doing all right.
Well, I'm glad you're doing better, brother.
Yeah.
Looks like we got a pretty full crowd. People are already piling in here. Appreciate you guys joining us, but again, I'm sorry. I'm probably not going to get much writing done tonight. I've got my hands stuck in the pockets of this hoodie trying to keep them warm. I'm surprised you can't see my breath on the screen. You might be able to because I can see it. It's not like super cloudy, but I can see wisps of white out in front of me. So we thought we might just talk books for a little while. We might not even do the full 2 hours because I'm not sure I can stay back here that long. Whew. Hope everybody's Christmas was good.
Yep.
Robbie had a cool Christmas surprise.
Yeah.
He wants to share.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I won't bore everybody with a whole long story, but basically my nephew found what most of us old folks call a boom box, but it had a cassette tape deck in it. Well, my niece found a tape we put in it, and it turned out to be my great aunt had recorded my great grandfather talking to her granddaughter. She was born without that bridge that connects both halves of your brain, so she's still alive, but she's still, I mean, she's just like confined to a home for the rest of her life, especially with my aunt and uncle dying. But anyway, Pa was talking to her, and Aunt Tony had recorded it. And Pa died in 1991, so I hadn't heard his voice since 1991. So that was a pretty cool little Christmas when my son hit play on that thing, and I hear my great grandfather's voice talking and singing songs I heard when I was a kid. He used to sing to me. So yeah, that was a pretty good Christmas last night.
That's
My brother and I almost teared up.
That's one of those things where you go, that's better than any gift you could get.
Mm-hmm. It was.
But I hope all y'all out there had a great Christmas, and I hope you guys will have a happy and safe New Year's as well. Looks like winter's back. We had that temporary reprieve for a week or so where things got warm. Heck, on Christmas Day it was like 76 here in town. It was beautiful. And then Friday after Christmas was good. Saturday, my wife and I had to go to a funeral. A friend of hers, her husband passed away. We went to that, and it was like mid 70s then. And then Sunday morning, I got up and let the dog out. Got up in the morning. It was beautiful out in the morning. I sat out in the backyard with the dog with a cup of coffee for about an hour in shorts and a t-shirt, just letting the dog run around the yard. And I went back in the house, and not 4 hours later, it was like 10 when I took the dog out, like 2 p.m. We went to go outside, and the wind had picked up, and it had dropped like 40 degrees. It's like in the span of just a few hours, it dropped, and it has continued to drop. It is now, last time I checked, I told Robbie it was 21 degrees, and it said feels like 10. Let's see what it says now. It's only been a few minutes ago, so it's probably pretty close to the same. Yeah, it still says 21, feels like 10. I know one thing, that wind out there cut right through you. I had to go run errands. It was payday, so I had to go pay a bunch of bills today, and I had to stop and put some gas in the car. And I'm telling you, that wind cut right through me, and I was wearing a leather coat, and I ain't been warm since.
Yep. I don't mind it when it's cold, but when it's cold and windy,
yeah, that wind's the worst. Net thinks I might be getting sick because I sound a little hoarse. I hope not. I don't like getting sick.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
So Robbie, why don't you take a few minutes and tell us about the new book, your newest book release? Let's plug some books for a little bit and talk shop and talk writing. Folks, I'm sorry, I've got arthritis in my hands, and when it gets this cold, it is very difficult for me to type.
You want to talk about the second Grail book? That's the one you're talking about?
Sure.
Grail Avalon Rising is the second book in the Grail book. Most of y'all that have read that kind of figured that part out. It's a continuation, but it's also it kind of from when DA and I had our little sit down meeting in Ohio. We kind of, is storyboarding the right term? I know that's a movie term, but we kind of storyboarded how we wanted. Instead of us just kind of going off and hitting this, and this, we kind of sat down and figured out the directions. And we had always talked about before that we needed something to happen in Europe. We needed something to happen. We already had something happening in the United States. We needed something in South America. So obviously the Grail series is our north or our over the pond series. That's what's happening in Europe. But it's also used to kind of set up some of the other stuff that's going to be going on here in the States. It kind of serves as a setup for the East Coast division of the Wild Hunt, kind of where we've kind of broadened out and kind of showed more, because everybody's been used to Wild Hunt being just in Fort Leonard Wood, but there's actually the West Coast division, there's the East Coast division, there's the Midwest division, which y'all are all familiar with, and then there's the Alaskan division, and there's might even be another 2 or 3 that we hadn't brought out yet. Spoiler alert. So we kind of figured out which direction, or not direction, which way books needed to come out, what needed to come out first, what needed to be discussed, or what points needed to be addressed or whatever in each series. So originally, when I first finished the first Grail book, I really didn't have, I knew there was going to be another one, but I didn't have a direction until after we went back, or after we went to Ohio and sat down. So when we come back from Ohio, I was like, okay. So I was able to really get on track with the second Grail book. And that's why there's a lot of back and forth between Europe and America, because there was a big setup. Rick stayed in Europe, obviously, but there was a lot more setup for some of the stuff that we've got. A lot of the stuff from that's going on that DA's taking care of, and a lot of stuff that I'm taking care of. So it kind of split that up. And that as far as timeline goes, what happened in the second Grail book happened probably right after Absaroka.
Yeah.
And then what happened, probably like towards the beginning of the third act in Absaroka is when the second Grail book actually started. And so when Rick is in the U.S. talking to his brother, that's probably right about the time that the third act was starting in Absaroka's. Thereabouts.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
it fits in pretty loosely, but yeah.
And we don't put like specific dates and time. I mean, there's not an abrupt. What am I trying to say? There's a kind of sort of time frame, a loose time frame, but it's not like exactly 2:00 on March 12th of 2025. It's not, it's not that exact, but we just kind of tried to get it to where it's a believable time frame, to where, like, if all these groups are kind of talking to each other, there might not be an exact time frame. Oh, we don't know exactly when this happened, but this happened over here, and it affects this over here. So we just kind of planned everything out a little bit better. So that, I don't know. It was kind of, I was kind of stuck there for a little bit until we had that talk, and I was able to really kind of move forward with it.
And I think between what we talked about and what we've talked about with Doc, I think you guys are going to be really, really happy with the direction some of these stories are going to be taken very soon.
Yeah, and we've actually got a lot more back the other way that might be coming in. Might be somebody else joining the universe too.
Just
some other writer might be joining the universe,
or at least making a debut.
Yep.
No, more about that as it gets closer to being done. We'll keep you guys informed on that.
I just like throwing out those little teasers just to make them be like, "What?"
Thank you, Angela. She says the tie-ins are really well done. Thank you. Yeah, we worked pretty hard on making those all fit correctly.
Yeah. It took a long time for us to really figure it out and figure out how to do it and do it right. But the more we've talked about it, it was just like stuff he wrote 10 years ago. And some of the stuff that I wrote when we really didn't have any plans, or obviously 10 years ago, he had no plans for us to be writing together. We didn't even know each other. And then when I first started writing the book, or when I first had the idea for the book, I didn't know him. But it's just like DA said it many times. It was just like it was meant to be, because the things that we wrote just worked out.
It worked out so easily.
Things that he put in his books 10 years ago, and even the first Apex Predators and the first Wild Hunt series, stuff that he put in there that was just it lined up so perfectly with us to be able to do it. Once we figured out how it did. Obviously, at first it wasn't perfect because we didn't know what we was doing with it. But once we we come up with that little, once the gears clicked and lined up and the cogs meshed together, it was like, why did it take us this long to figure this out? This is just like perfect.
Well, no one's ever accused us of being the brightest bulbs in the pack.
That's true. Very true. But I think we kind of have gotten it on track. And like I said, you laid all the groundwork, so it made it a lot easier once we figured it out for me to just, because I got a big sandbox to play in. So it made it a lot easier once we figured all that stuff out and I knew what to go. It made it a whole lot easier because I didn't have to sit and try to plan or figure all this out. You already laid all that groundwork, so that made it a lot easier.
Toshi says, seriously, y'all got me hooked with your books. I'm always excited to see the next book coming out and to see how the world expands and grows. Seeing Toshi made me remember something. For those of you guys who won the books on our 10K celebration, I have not forgotten you. I laid those books out, signed them and everything, and set them to the side to be mailed out, and then they got forgotten with the holidays and me being sick. And I went to mail them out before Christmas and realized I didn't have enough money in my account to mail them, so I had to wait till payday, which was today, and we went and paid bills today, and I'll be mailing all those out tomorrow. So I apologize to you guys. I'll be throwing a little something extra in there with them, but that's all 100% on me. I apologize. But those books will be sent out tomorrow or the day after at the latest. I mean, they'll be out this week. And like I said, I'm going to throw a little something extra in with it for you guys waiting so long. And I apologize for that, but it was mostly because, we had so much going on with the holidays and me being sick on top of everything. And the fact that I was about broke. So I couldn't afford to mail anything out. So that's 100% on me. I'm sorry about that, folks, but I will get them out to you.
Cole had a question. I don't know if you saw it.
Northwood says, my only complaint about the books from both of you is they only give me 1 day of reading. Well, I'm sorry, man. I wish I could write as fast as you read. This is a dumb question. Did y'all decide to take the audio parts off y'all's books? Notice tonight they were gone. No, we didn't take them down. They should still be on there. Let me go over to Amazon.com.
Is he talking about Audible or is he talking about the Redneck Reading Association?
Oh, yeah. Are you talking about exactly. Are you talking about Amazon Audible or are you talking about the Redneck Reading? Because those are still there. They're just members only now. You got to be a channel member to watch them.
Thanks, Leanne.
Thank you, Leanne. Oh, and Demon of the Absarokas is still doing pretty well in sales wise. I've got to hurry up and get some other books out. I've got 3, 4, 5 projects going right now, and I just need to get them all done and out. The projects I've got going right now is I've got another Balkus story, which is going to be a novella. It's not going to be a full novel. It's going to be part of a collection of short stories called Tales from the Crag, which is going to be a collection of short stories set in Valgard. It's all going to be about that world. And I'm still working on the sequel to Heart of Iron. It's called Leaves of Silver. It started, but it kind of got backburned a little bit. But the projects I've got going are Tales from the Crag. I've got that story about Clark, about how Clark won the medal. That one's going. I read part of that to y'all last week. And I've got the next Nightmare Hunter book is coming. Not Dark Frontiers. The next Nightmare Hunter. It's called Nightmare Hunter Project now. That one's coming along. I've got about 18 to 20,000 words done in that. I've got the next Codename Wild Hunt book. That one's cruising right along. And I've also got the next Apex Predators being outlined. So I've got a bunch of projects going. I just got to get them all done, get them out to you. Tales from the Hag. That's funny. I should have brewed some coffee before the show. That might have warmed me up a touch.
So I take it Cole's talking about Audible. because he said he had to re-download the app. So I haven't. Have you checked or have you pulled it up and checked it?
I have not. I'm going to go to Amazon right now. I didn't take any of those down, so
I ain't taking any of mine down either.
let me see what Amazon says. Well, according to this, all the audiobooks are still there. I'm looking at my author page where I've got the listing of all my books, and they're still saying, Kindle, paperback, audiobook. That's weird.
Let me pull up mine right quick.
Yeah, mine are showing audiobook available. What I'm thinking about doing is creating like an entire like anthology is not the word I'm looking for, like a world builder's guide kind of thing for Valgard, and I might invite some other fantasy authors to write in the Valgard series. I think that would be kind of cool to have other fantasy authors creating stories, make kind of a shared world kind of thing. I think it'd be a lot of fun. We'll see though. See how it works out.
That would be pretty cool.
When will the notebooks be available on the web shop?
I'm showing 3 editions and all mine too. So
I don't know. Let me look into that. We're in the process of changing the store over, simply because Teespring got really bad about not delivering. You put the order in, and either they ignore it or might send it 3 or 4 months down the road. We're moving over to one called Foursquare. When Noah's got some spare time, we're going to change the store completely over. That's one of the projects we've had kind of on the side, but we'll actually be adding different notebooks as well when we get the Foursquare changed over. So those are still coming, but if you can't get anything out of Teespring, I'm sorry. That's one of the reasons we're leaving.
Larry, if you're talking about the one about the Canadian horror story from about the bear, is that the one you're talking about?
Little Patty says, "DA, you're going to do a backstory on Gray Eagle." Well, I kind of did. That short story about Gray Eagle in Afghanistan's kind of a backstory on him. But if you're wanting something, more in depth than that, like what happened after his parents died up until the time he joined the military, maybe. I'm thinking about doing some origin story stuff, like I'm doing with Clark right now, on these characters before they became main characters in the other series. So yeah, it's entirely possible there might be a Gray Eagle one. I've got a couple of different ones planned for Gideon, covering different time frames. I've got the one I'm working on currently for Clark, and there's probably going to be a Declan one that describes what happened to Declan up until the point he became the Widowmaker. And there may be even some others in there from some faces So yeah, there's probably going to be some backstory stories. I don't know if they'll be full length novels, but they'll definitely at least be novellas. Probably as big as that Gray Eagle Afghanistan story. Probably roughly about that size, 17 to 20,000 words, that kind of ballpark. So a good solid story, maybe not necessarily a whole novel. Harlan says autobiography. What about the cookbook? Yes, we're still working on the cookbook. I've been compiling recipes. Miss Lene is going to be helping me. I've been compiling recipes and creating a few new ones. There's one that I mentioned it before in, just kind of mentioned in passing in Death and Dyatlov Pass, but it really gets discussed in this new Balkus project I'm working on. Same recipe. And that recipe is going to be in there. There's going to be, Declan's Cowboy Sloppy Joes are going to be in there. Jay Matoska's Coffee will actually be in there. We're going to have Jed's Cat Head Biscuits are going to be in there. There's going to be some good recipes. Doc's famous pecan pie. Going to be a lot of recipes in there. We may even throw a few beverage recipes in there for you as well. But we will finally be revealing the secret to Jay Matoska's coffee. So look for that. Hopefully, we'll have that out, depending on how quickly I can get all the recipes put together, because we're going to do it a little differently. Most recipe books, they're just a compilation. It just has recipes and maybe a little bit of talking, like a paragraph or two. This recipe, comes from the Amish country, or blah blah blah, something like that. But what I'm thinking of doing was, with each recipe, attaching a short story to it, like Declan talking about his sloppy joes and how he learned to make it when he was on the trail with Quantrell and that kind of thing. So each one have a legacy that explains where this recipe comes from. So it's going to be equal parts storybook and recipe book. So it's going to be something that I'm hoping you're going to want to do more than just make the recipes, that you'll read and enjoy the book itself as well. So it's going to be a bit more of an undertaking than just recipes, but we do have a bunch of recipes. So we'll be going through that, and it'll probably be a pretty sizable book by the time we're all said and
done. Nick, you asked about if I was going to do another book like Kodiak. Now, to clarify, do you mean just another book that's outside of the universe, or do you mean another like survival type book? Because I am working on something that's outside the universe. It's not quite like Kodiak, but it's and when I say outside the universe, I just mean that it doesn't have any mentions of any normal characters. It still very easily could be within the universe, and probably is. It's one of those things, like, DA and I talked about it. It'd be very easy for Kodiak to be involved in the universe. It would take nothing more than Clark walking by Mason at Fort Leonard Wood, because that's where he got stationed after he graduated Ranger School, and saying
there'll be subtle tie-ins.
Yeah, hey kid, I read your file. I saw what happened. That's double tough or something like. That's all it would take for that. So, but if you're talking about something like that where it's just outside of slightly outside of universe, I guess, then yes, Valley of Bones that I'm working on right now is like that. But it's not. It's like Kodiak in a survival sense, but it's not like Kodiak either.
Angela, that's awesome. Wahampi's great, especially that's a great cold weather dish. Very, very filling, very warming, keeps you warm inside. It's a good hearty meal. I'll have the recipe for Jay Matoska's Wahampi and fry bread in there. Also, if you've read Demon of Paladuro, where they talked about the stuffed sopapillas, those recipes will be in there. That'll be listed as what's his name? Rocky stuffed sopapillas. And you have a lot of those recipes that are going to be in there. And the cool thing about stuffed sopapillas is, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Tex-Mex Southwest cuisine, but there's 2 or 3 recipes floating around for sopapillas. But the one I like, the one I grew up with when I lived down there, you basically take bread dough like you would for making bread. You don't let it rise. You roll it out flat, cut it into squares, and then you drop it in hot oil and deep fry it and keep flipping it over, and it'll puff out and expand. And it'll, all that air will trap inside it, and the outside gets real crispy and warm and dark brown. And then you cut open the end, and you can put whatever you want in those. I mean, I've had stuffed sopapillas with everything from enchiladas to tacos to everything else down inside it, and you can even make them into dessert. I've had sopapillas with vanilla ice cream and caramel drizzled over it. Oh my God. Yeah. You can't go wrong with a good stuffed sopapilla, but there's about 1,001 things you can do with a stuffed sopapilla. And what I'll do is I'll put a recipe on how to make the sopapillas, and then say, these are the things I've had in it, but the limit's really your own imagination on what you can do with a sopapilla. Yes, the shepherd's pie and Guinness gravy. Yep. Yeah, we will definitely have the Guinness gravy in there and the shepherd's pie. Uh, the pulled pork mac and cheese. Yes, that'll be in there. Someone else had one up there. I missed it. Got by me before I. Yeah, definitely shepherd's pie. Oh, yeah, the blackberry cobbler. The made from scratch, homemade blackberry cobbler, and it's best made in a Dutch oven. It truly is. But you can make it in any pan you got. But we'll have uh, Miss Abigail's homemade blackberry cobbler recipe in there as well. So yeah, there'll be desserts, there'll be main courses, there'll be drinks, there'll be a little bit of everything in there. And I think it's going to have a little bit of something for everything. And again, to set it all apart from a standard short story or standard book, is each one of these recipes will have a short story that discusses the history of it. Like for example, the blackberry cobbler. It might be Miss Abigail sitting down and explaining to Declan, you know, one of these days I'm going to be gone and you're probably going to want to keep making this. It'd be her telling a story on how she got it from her grandmother or whatever and how she changed the recipe over the years. But yeah, it'll be made from scratch blackberry cobbler. Trick of it is it's actually my mother's recipe, but for the books, it'll be Miss Abigail's recipe. So, but I'm excited about that. Oh, Roxanne says, what about a list of best beer and liquor with each recipe to drink with? I could probably do that. Give you some suggestions, as we know a lot of those are kind of implied. Like the shepherd's pie's got to have a Guinness with it. You got to have a Guinness with shepherd's pie. Thank you, Amy. Northwood says, I got a few older family recipes I need to dust off with cooler weather here. Yeah, I found an old crock pot recipe. Well, actually, I can't take credit for that. Annette found it, and she sent me the crock pot recipe for homemade chicken soup. And I took a look at it. It was only like 4 ingredients. I'm like, well, this is wicked easy to make. And I got to looking at it. I'm like, but this is just I can really do better. So I took that basic chicken soup recipe and modified it, and I made it for the family. And now I made it just a couple of days ago, right before Christmas. And now Nick's like, Dad, I would eat this 7 days a week if you want to keep this on hand. So I'll probably throw that recipe in there too. It's kind of a Southwest chicken soup, but it's pretty tasty. Don, I love a good beef stew. Me too, brother. I love stews and thick soups, especially in cold weather. Definitely have a recipe for chili in there. And Doc and Robbie both have had that Cowboy Sloppy Joe's.
Mm-hmm. It's good.
Toshi says, all I know is once you get that cookbook out and I get it, I'm going to try to at least make make one of everything from it. Don says, makes a damn good veggie soup too. I like a good veggie soup once in a while, especially if I'm not feeling good. Cheesy potato soup. Yeah. And a very good recipe for some deviled eggs too. I love me some deviled eggs.
Got to throw some Scotch eggs in there too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a whole different animal there. I'll put a good recipe for Scotch eggs in. There's going to be a bunch of recipes in this. So it's probably going to end up with this recipe book being 200-300 pages long, maybe even bigger. May turn out to be a big son of a gun.
Yep, I still got to get you the Jed's Mexican casserole recipe too.
Yep. Oh. Jeff Yarrington says, I made a big batch of chili last week. I love a good batch of chili.
My mom made chili beans last night. They're good.
Curtis Murray says, what's Scotch eggs? My brother, you have not lived until you've had a Scotch egg. A Scotch egg is basically, you take an egg and you soft boil it You don't boil it completely all the way through. And then you wrap that egg and wrap it with sausage and then roll it in panko crumbs and deep fry it. Recipe's a little more complex than this, but this is just the basics. So you've got an egg wrapped in sausage with crispy panko on it that's deep fried. And I'm telling you, you dip that in some like good spicy mustard or something. Oh Lord. That's some those are good eating right there.
Really nice, Clark. Really nice.
Robbie never had them before until he came down to visit the first time. I'm like, I gotta take you over to Dublin's. Tammy says I have a German chef friend that makes the best Scotch eggs. Scotch eggs are incredible. They are so good. Just don't mix deviled eggs with baked beans. I may or may not have done that in the past. But yeah, those are just like a list of. I've got a whole bunch of those recipes that are going there. I got to start getting the recipes to Miss Lene so she can get the recipes sorted and printed and formatted all the same way. But I'm going to be working on the story side, and I don't know how quickly we're going to get the recipe book done because, like I said, it's going to be a pretty big book by the time it's all said and done, especially with each recipe having a story behind it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to give you a really particularly good story to go with Jay's coffee.
Yep.
Little Patty says this made myself hungry for some chicken and sausage gumbo. We made gumbo and red beans and rice last week. Those came out good. I do love me some red beans and rice and some gumbo. Long Queen says, anyone hungry? Anyone not hungry yet?
My uncle made some shrimp etouffee for Christmas last week. That's good.
I bet. I'm not a seafood guy. Seafood makes me sick for some reason. So,
Well, this was good.
I'll take your word for it. Annette would have loved it. She loves shrimp. Noah does too. But if I eat seafood, I get sick every time.
I love seafood.
Karen says, or reference what book it's mentioned in. Oh, we'll definitely be doing that. We'll definitely make sure there's a reference guide. So if you want to know where this recipe comes from, you'll know which book. Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll make sure that's in there as well.
Oh yeah, jambalaya, one of my favorites.
Jambalaya is always good. Amy says, ever cooked squirrel? I grew up on pan fried squirrel. Yeah, I've had
Dumplings.
many squirrel dumplings. Yeah, many times. We'd have fried squirrel with breakfast, fried squirrel and eggs. Yeah, I've ate squirrel many different ways. Had it in beans. Tastes like ham and beans. You just boil a squirrel and get all the meat off the bones, and then drop the meat down in the brown beans, and let them cook. That's some good eating there.
Mm-hmm.
Little Patty says, I like jambalaya with pasta in it. I think pasta's good in just about anything. I like me some pasta. Ugh. Arlen says tree rat. Yeah, I wouldn't eat a squirrel from in town, but I've had plenty of squirrels from out in the woods. Squirrels in town, they've got too much access to garbage. You don't know what you're eating. But squirrels out in the woods, well away from people, they've got more of a natural diet.
Yep.
But again, that's just the recipe book. We're going to be working on that hot and heavy coming up. I was trying to get through the first of the year so I could really concentrate on a lot of projects. So I'm going to be sending Miss Lene a bunch of different recipes, and then as we get those recipes, formatted and set up the way we want them, then I'll start working on the stories, and then once we've got enough of them compiled, we'll put those all in one big book. Northwood says I had stuffed manicotti and garlic bread for Christmas dinner. Christmas, we went over to my oldest son's house, and we just kind of had had a light meal. We didn't make anything fancy. In fact, we had pigs in a blanket and just finger foods, and then opened presents and had a good time. And then I came home and made our traditional Christmas lasagna. I make a lasagna from scratch, and we like having the lasagna at Christmas time. We always have a turkey at Thanksgiving. I make a big old Cajun turkey every year, and yeah, it always turns out pretty good. We always like that, but we like to do a lasagna at Christmas. Don't ask me why. I don't even know how that got started. We've been doing it for several years. Tammy says, as a kid in Oklahoma, we grilled squirrel all the time. I've had it that way too. Squirrel's good eating. Rabbit, love rabbit.
Yep, rabbit's good too.
Rabbit's damn good. Deep fried turkey. I've had that. That's good. Roxanne says I made a pan of chorizo and eggs. It was good. There's a restaurant here in town, Roxanne. So the next time you're in Springfield, when you're going down Glenstone, it's called Abelardo's. It's right near the intersection at Grand and Glenstone. So Roxanne, next time you're in town and you get anywhere near Grand and Glenstone, look for Abelardo's. It's on the east side of the street, on right there at Glenstone, and it's right next to the signal station at Glenstone and in Grand. They have amazing food. They've got a breakfast burrito that's loaded with chorizo and sausage and bacon and eggs and cheese. Oh my God. And it's like this big. It is massive. If you can eat all of one, I'll be impressed, because I can only eat about half of one. And I'm a pretty big dude. Northwood says one year I had to put a frozen turkey in an empty kid's car seat to safely get it. That's funny. Sounds good, Roxanne. Yeah, Annette loves that place. Yeah, I think it's quickly become our favorite Mexican food in Springfield, and we've had all of them. I mean, but Abelardo's so good. Yeah, they could make they make what you know what Irish nachos are. Any of y'all might not be familiar with Irish nachos. Nachos is all your nacho toppings on top of chips, obviously. But Irish nachos, you do that on potatoes, and they have what they call super fajita nachos, and you can order them over fries, and it's all the fajita and nacho toppings on top of a big old, big old pile of fries. When you get it, it's in a dish about yay big, and it's mounded up. And I can't eat all of that. I always end up giving half of it to Noah. But man, that's good. Will there be desserts? Absolutely, sir. At the very least, there'll be the blackberry cobbler recipe. There'll be some others. I've got a few of them in mind that I'll be putting in there. The sopapillas can be desserts, so it all depends on what you want to put in them. But yeah, they'll definitely be some desserts in the book as well.
You can put in Tina Becker's boiled custard, because Taylor makes my grandfather's boiled custard.
That sounds good.
It's like liquid pound cake.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Oh God, she made some last night between me and my brother. I think she took about that much home from a gallon.
You guys are pounding that down, huh? I definitely have to try that.
It's good.
Robert, what's it? Robert McGough says I was about to say Irish nachos sound like thin sliced potatoes. It's any kind of line of potatoes that you want. I've had them. I've made Irish nachos on tater tots. I've made them on French fries. I've made them on just thin sliced fried potatoes. But it's however you want to cook your potatoes, and then you cover it with your nacho toppings. And that, yeah, put it in the oven, let it all bake together for a little bit. Oh man. I already ate, and I'm not making myself hungry.
Jeffro said I have his full attention talking about liquid pound cake.
Y'all talking about roadkill. Yeah, I hope you guys aren't being facetious because, I'm an Ozarks hillbilly. It's happened. You like seen a freshly hit deer? That's happened. I had a buddy that worked for the conservation, and he would call me once in a while. I was like, "Hey, I got a deer out here. We're getting ready to put down. You want it?" Yes, as a matter of fact, yes. I'll be right there. Bread pudding. Bread pudding's good. I'm about to put a recipe in there for some good old nanner pudding too. And you
Yep.
ain't live till you've had Bertha Roberts nanner pudding. Declan's chili. Yeah, there's going to be recipes from each of the main characters.
So what's going to come out next from you, DA?
Next one that should be released is the plan is to be the next one's going to be Leviathan Down. That's the one that's the one I'm planning to release next. But you know how it gets when you get to flowing on a project. If I finish one of them before then I'll let everybody know which one's coming out instead. But the plan is to finish Leviathan Down. But it's just weird. Sometimes you'll get to working on a project and it'll just pour. And when it comes out like that, I don't fight it. I just let it roll. So
Yep.
it's entirely possible I could finish another project first, but the plan is to finish Leviathan Down. Northwoods, you're absolutely right about that. That's no longer roadkill. That's street pizza. Little Patty says my kids insist on sweet and sour meatballs for the holidays. That sounds pretty good. So what's your next project, Robbie?
I'm at the same point, word count wise with both. I kind of thought at one point I was thinking of getting Valley of Bones out first, but then I was like, oh no, I might get Shadow Hunters out. I can't. They're both at over 30,000 words, so I don't know. I can't decide which one of them I want to, because I've been doing like a day or two on one, and a day or two on another. I just can't decide which one I want to. If I want to focus on one, or if I just want to keep doing it the way I'm doing it. I don't know.
Well, that story that I'm working on with it's the Balkus story, it's just it's not even like a huge adventure. It's just kind of a backstory of something Balkus does. That one just keeps calling me back to it. I mean, I know what you're talking about. I've even dreamed about that one. I wake up and think, oh, I need to write this down. So that Balka story is just kind of telling itself.
Yeah. Well, it's like I worked 2 days in a row on Shadow Hunters, Project Manicore. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get this one out first, and then kind of like what you said, I had a couple thoughts about Valley of Bones, and I was like, I went back and wrote that, and I ended up spending like 3 days on that, and word counts just keep like right there with each other. So I'm like,
you might finish them at the same time and have multiple releases in a week. End up competing with yourself.
yeah.
But dropping more than one book at a time is a pretty good marketing idea, because they really will build momentum off of each other. I know a guy, I won't say who it is because I didn't ask his permission, but what he did was he wrote 3 books back to back. They were all tied in, all part of the same series, and polished them all up, put covers on all of them, then dropped all 3 at the same time. And those 3 books dragged each other to number 1. They really did. They took turns. They fought for number 1 over the 3 of them for like over a month. just back and forth. One of them would be number one day, and then, but they kept each other in the rankings for over a month.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome how it worked. I've been thinking about trying it, but when I get a book done, I just release it. I don't wait.
Yeah, like I said, I can't. It's like I'll focus on one, and then something will drag me back to the other. I'm having fun with both of them, but they're like totally different from each other, obviously, in setup and everything. So it's like they're both fun, but they're fun in different ways. Because obviously, Shadowhunters is fun because it's our universe, and Valley of Bones is totally different. So,
well, I like Valley of Bones. I really like the way that's going.
Yeah, I'm enjoying that one.
And that could easily tie into everything else with just a few lines of dialogue.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what I'm trying to do with all these side projects. I'm kind of like, I don't want to pigeonhole them into. I want to leave them to where if it is something that you're like, hey, that would work really good with blah 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 blah. I've left it. The threads are loose at the end where we could easily pick them up, and just like with Kodiak, it's very easy. I mean, Clark could even call Mason into the team one time just because of his survival skills and the things he went through.
You could actually, you remember that short story I wrote called the Recruits, where I introduced Nate Murdoch. We could do a short story like that where Mason's trying out for the team.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I left it the way I did. And
the Recruits Part 2.
Yeah,
where he's competing, doing the murder mile.
Yeah,
we could easily do that. That would work right in as him trying to make the team, see if he makes the cut. Yeah. Larry says he wants to know, am I planning another Nightmare Hunter Uncanny Valley? Yeah, I've actually had that book in the works for a while. It just kind of got backburnered. Again, like my sci-fi, the Nightmare Hunter series was never a big seller, so I kind of concentrated on other stuff. But I do have another one coming. It's called Nightmare Hunter Project now. It's called the Nightmare Hunter Project Curse of the Rougarou. And I'm about 20,000 words into it. I need to go back over and rework it to change a few things and update it to where I want the story now. But yeah, I'm hoping to have that one done in the next couple of months as well. I've got a whole bunch of projects that if I can really crack down and get them all done, we're looking at multiple releases over the next 2 to 3 months if I can get everything done that I want to get done. Thank you, Curtis. This is like what you did with Rocky. Thank you. Is Ortega really dead? You're going to have to read the next book and see. I don't want to give it away.
And Nick, to answer your question, yes, I do have an idea. Hopefully after I get done with these two, I haven't run it by DA yet because I want it to tie in kind of like it's going to be. I haven't decided whether I want it to be just in a different time period or in a different universe, kind of like DA's is, but a different universe, obviously, than where Balkus and them are from. But I haven't run the complete idea by DA yet, so I wanted to get through with these two before I did. But yeah, it'll be more like like Robert E. Howard style with Conan and Cull and things like that.
That one's going to be fun.
Yeah.
If you want to do like Robert E. Howard style, Cull the Conqueror style, you could set them in Valgard and they'd fit perfect.
Well, that's what I wasn't sure if that would be something.
Dude, that's a whole world to explore. Yeah.
Well, I wasn't sure that would fit in. Is what I'm saying.
This is all I've done so far with Valgard. I've just very, very lightly scratched.
Well, I know, but I'm saying I wasn't sure that my idea would fit in with that yet. That's why I hadn't. Because if it's more like Conan, do they have barbarians in that world as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so then that answers. There's your answer, Nick.
The character that they met that they met to the end of the book, Grey Wolf. Yeah, he's a barbarian. at the end of Heart of Iron. Yeah, he's a barbarian.
Okay, I thought he was more Native American type.
Yeah,
Like,
but
just kind of like
in D&D terms, Native Americans would be considered barbarians
well, true.
because they're more primitive fighters. But that's just for like D&D terminology. I mean, I wouldn't use that term in like for modern existence, but for as far as D&D classes, they would be somewhere between a barbarian and a ranger. When barbarians have ranger skills, so it kind of makes sense. A Cajun barbarian. More Grey Eagle would be great. I've got the plans for the next Apex Predator book. And like I said, I do intend to do some solo projects on individual characters as well. So, don't count Grey Eagle out. He ain't done yet. I want to see a story around Kodiak and the Wild Hunt. Just about Kodiak. Well, there's more story there to tell too. Especially, there's been several people who sent me emails. Hey, what happened with Kodiak's bear? The bear cub he found in Russia. So that'll definitely show back up too. Northwoods.
Curse of the Hope.
That's funny.
Tammy wants Amanda back.
Let's see. DA, I was curious about something in Heart of Iron. I saw how some of the dwarven weapons, when thrown, would return back to their owners. How is that done? Magic. It's magic. Dwarven rune magic or even stronger magics. But yeah, the only way a hammer like that would return is magic. Bring back Amanda. Okay. Don't know if that'll actually happen. There was a reason that had to happen, and I don't know if I want to give any spoilers for anybody that might not have read Dead of Winter. But Logue would not be where he is at the end of that book if it weren't for losing her. That's Logue's redemption arc, and it might change that if she were to come back. But don't roll her as gone forever. So don't ever think that. But yeah, there was a reason that we lost her, and it was a gut punch when it happened. But yeah, there's a reason. Lima says, Northwoods, you owe me a beer. I spit it out on a whole bag.
And Curtis is asking about Rick's girl back home. Not very many people have asked, but that was just how's the best way to describe that, DA?
Probably just a section of the story that may not get revisited.
Yeah, just it would have been way too complicated to explain for real world reasons, and it was just easier to just because we had about an hour and a half, 2 hour conversation about the best way to do this, and it was just best to just let it go. Not a death, not a so
just a parting of the ways.
In canon, just she had other things that carried her away from the team. And I can't really give you much more than that because I can't really give much information on the real world side of things.
Going Off Grid says I just released my book about my experiences with Bigfoot. Leslie Garcia is doing the audio, not out yet. Awesome! Congratulations. You have to send us a link on that. I have to check that out.
No, that's not the plot twist, Angela. I don't want Kodiak coming after Mason. Sorry. That would be a plot twist though.
Yeah, that would be a plot twist, but it would not be a good one.
No.
Nick says, Nick Morris says, DA, have you ever thought about writing a book from the villain side? I've thought about it, but I don't know if that would really be writing to my strengths. But I do like challenge in writing. I'd like to push myself outside my comfort zone. So yeah, I might try it sometime. I might try it in a short story and see how it works, and then go from there. But yeah, I might give that a shot at some point. That's something I've never done before, so it might be cool. Might suck, but well, I'll give it a try and see how it works. What I'll probably do is I'll try it in short story version first. Try a short story that was from the villain's point of view. And, maybe I don't know, 10,000 words ish. And then we'll probably put it up for free on Patreon and maybe on the website, and get feedback on it, see what people think, and then maybe eventually add it to an anthology. But yeah, I'll probably try it out as a short story first and see how it goes from there.
Yeah, I actually had fun doing that whole chapter in Silver Star from the werewolf's point of view. That was actually pretty fun.
Going Off Grid. Yeah, if you want to post the link, I don't know if YouTube will let you. If it doesn't, send it to one of me or one of the mods. I'd be happy to put the link up. Amy, I didn't know you wrote a book. What was it about? Oh, hey, Amy, we're all about supporting other writers.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, if you've got a book out there, yeah, we'd be happy to plug it. And yeah, if you're an indie author, it is a struggle. You work your butt off. And folks, most indie authors don't make much money. My first decade being published, I was lucky to make, 40, 50 bucks a month. I mean, I didn't make a whole lot of money from the Ragnarok books. Just while they were popular, they didn't make a whole lot of money. And it wasn't until 2020 when I got hurt, when I got down on my back, when I started writing out a lot more of the cryptid stuff, and that's when sales picked up quite a bit. But yeah, I jokingly say this all the time, but it's the truth. If Stephen King or Jonathan Mayberry woke up with my sales tomorrow, you'd find them dangling from their shower curtain rod.
Lisa wanted to know how me and you met.
That's kind of a cool story, to be honest. Robbie,
No, you tell it this time. I always tell it. You tell it this
Robbie
time.
always tells the story. Well, thing is after Codename Wild Hunt Odin's Call came out, Robbie reached out to me because one of the behaviors I wrote about in the book triggered a memory, and he had a Bigfoot sighting when he was a kid. And I try to use real behaviors from Bigfoot encounters, and sometimes I even use actual encounters just retold as a story in my writing, because I want the behaviors of the creatures to be as accurate as I can. And what I described was the kind of tree peaking and how they sway back and forth, and that just clicked with Robbie. So he reached out to me and said, "Hey, this book really triggered a memory with me." And he told me about his encounter when he was a kid, and I said, "I'd love to hear more about it." And I asked him if we could tell it on the show, and he was like, "Oh yeah, absolutely." And then one I was going to talk about it, and it was a night Steve couldn't make it, so it was probably going to be just me. So I just reached out to Robbie. I'm like, "Hey, how would you like to just come on the show and tell the story yourself?" And he was like, "I don't know about that." It was a deer in the headlights for that first show, but I talked him into it. And you'd think Robbie and I have known each other since we were children, but we've really only known each other about 3-4 years.
Yeah, about 4 years now. So
yeah, so we didn't know each other from Adam just a few years ago, but yeah, he we did a video call and he told me a story, and then I got him on the show and he told a story, and I enjoyed hanging out with him on the show because we had such similar backgrounds, both decades in law enforcement, and like to hunt and like to go out and talk about Bigfoot, and had just had a lot of very crazily, weirdly similar backgrounds in our lives, things that we had happened to both of us, that things that we'd both experienced, and it was really kind of crazy how much we had in common. And after that first appearance on the show, we it went from the occasional phone call to we talk every day. I mean, Robbie's family now, but yeah, it was just that one bit of line in Codename Wild Hunt, Odin's Call, that sparked a kind of a repressed memory with Robbie, and that all just led from there. Doc, meeting Doc was kind of similar. It was all because of the books. After the first Ragnarok Rising book came out, Ragnarok Rising: The Awakening, Doc had read the book, and it was funny because back then, man, my reach was not big. I probably at best of that first book sold a few thousand copies within the first couple of years, if that. And that, that's being generous. Probably realistically, it was probably less than 1,000 copies of that first book sold that first year. But Doc was one of them that read it. I don't know what got him to read that book. Don't have a clue. He just happened to read that book, and then he reached out and said, "Hey, this is awesome, but you could do this with these kind of medical, like the field medicine, because I'd kind of guessed on some of it." And he said, "Your guess was pretty good, but you could do this." And we got to talking. He said, "If you want to pick my brain anytime about combat medicine, field medicine, then yeah, I'm down for it." And then that's when I found out he had Dark Angel Medical, and he was like, "Oh, you're a cop?" Well, yeah. So we got to talking, and I bought a med kit from him and carried it on my duty belt. And anytime I would write a scene where somebody was bloodied up, I'd text him, "Hey, you awake?" And we'd go through how to treat that wound. There was one that was different. I called him. I called him late one night when I was working on a scene, and I said, "Hey, can you read something for me?" He's like, "Sure." And I sent him to him. It was about 4 or 5 pages. And when he called me back when he was done reading it, he's like, "Yeah, they're dead, man. There is absolutely no chance they'd survive that." I'm like, "Good. That is literally what I was going for. I wanted this to be untreatable." He goes, "Well, you hit it. There ain't no coming back from that one." And it just kind of grew from there. I mean, these guys are like blood to me. I mean, they're family, and it's all because of the books. It's crazy how the books completely changed the course of my life.
Yep. All three of us, really. Because I don't know that I would have ever, had I not met you and Doc, I don't know that I would have ever, I had the idea, but I don't think I would have ever tried it.
Amy said, "As my dad said, everyone says they're going to publish a book. You actually did it. So nice to hear from my dad." Absolutely. So many people say they're going to write a book. And then when you actually sit down and do it, you realize that it's more work than you think it's going to be. And there's a lot of work involved in publishing a book. And if you actually completed a book and got it published and went through the whole process of getting that book completely done, you've done more than 99% of the population will ever do that say they want to write a book. And that's a great accomplishment. You should be proud of it.
Yep.
But definitely send us a link to your book. We're happy to share it.
He actually told me when I got started, he said, "Trust me, writing the book's the easy part." And I was like, "What? You're crazy." But he's right.
The real work starts once it's published. Karen Polson says, "Then Cam reading Odin's Call sucked me in." Well, I'm glad he did. I'm glad it did. That's to me, that's huge. And if it hadn't been for the books, I never would have met people like Cam or the folks over at Woodwalkers or Coombo Baker or I've always been into Bigfoot since I was a kid. I mean, I've been doing my own research on my own, but I never would have gotten to know some of these amazing people. And yeah, the journey these books have taken me on has been pretty amazing. And it's much farther than a farm kid from Route 3, Lebanon, Missouri, ever thought he'd reach.
Yes, little Patty, the books are how he met Steve too. Well, not how he met Steve, but how they.
Well, yeah, I met Steve working at the hospital. I was overnight security director for the hospital he works at, and he worked up on the 9th floor. And I would go around and check on the nursing staff to make sure they're okay, make sure they don't have any problem children, any problem patients on the floor, because a lot of patients do get in there and cause a lot of problems, um, especially when they've got inmates under guard. Those tend to be problematic, and I would always go around and check on them. And it just struck up a conversation with Steve one night, and the Ragnarok books were all out, and him and I got to talking, and he had been reading some of the books, and didn't put two and two that the guy he knew as Doug was actually D.A. Roberts, and he kind of had a fangirl kind of moment, as he puts it, when oh crap, you're D.A. Roberts. But yeah, him and I hit it off, and we've been best buds ever since. I mean, it's just one of those crazy things that he was reading the books independently while still knowing me, but didn't know who I was. Yeah, my off grid, my email is daroberts@daroberts.net. If you're going to send me links, let me know that you sent them in the chat, because I don't normally check my email during the show. Lima Mike says, with Cam's reading and Robbie's during redneck reading, I now leave the CK out of pronouncing truck. My wife laughs at me. That's just hillbillyisms. Like Yontu. I don't know how to spell it, but I say it all the time. we're fixing to go. We're fixing to go out to eat, Yontu.
All right.
There you go.
Tell you what.
Damn Skippy.
How's your mom and them?
How y'all doing?
Ewans, which is y'all plus 3.
Yep, Yuns. We grew up saying Yuns. Amy says, unreal how we meet, folks. My husband was a chance meeting at the post office. My wife and I, we've been married. Jesus, what is it? We got married in '93, so it'll be 33 years this coming year. So yeah, we got married in '93. We met in early '92, and it was one of those where one of her best friends was dating my roommate, and we just kind of met, and unbelievably, it just clicked. What? Yep. Yeah, it started with an email, and then you ended up going with us over to Combs Ferry. That was an interesting night, to say the least. Oh, woo, Lord! I think it's getting colder back here. Probably doesn't help that I'm set. I even hung a blanket over the window, and it still feels like there's wind coming straight through that thing. That window, maybe I didn't drop the storm window when I closed the window, so I may have to open that up after the show and check the storm window, see if that'll cut some down a bit. I got to get that space heater out. It's like it's a little electric heater that looks like a mini fireplace. Annette got it for me last year, and then when it got hot, I put it in storage, and now I've got to go dig it out. Well, Amy, I'm sorry for your loss, but I'm thrilled you guys met the way you did. That's really awesome. That's that's how I feel about my wife. I I'd be lost without her. 33 years. I struggle to remember my life without her. I look back and I know I had, I was 21 when I met her. So I know time existed before I was with her, but it's hard to remember, remember the way my life was before her. And it's strange. And I think if something ever were to happen to her, I'd have to leave Springfield because there's literally no place I could go in this town that I don't have a memory of with her.
I love my brother's story. He started. My sister-in-law's got an identical twin, and my brother started dating her twin sister first, and then they broke up, and then him and Lindsay got together. So my brother literally has dated identical twins.
That's funny. Roxanne says, "Da, I have dreams that with me and Lene and Annette being with you, with y'all, some strange things happened since y'all went in your adventure in Combs Ferry." I would actually go out on a limb and say Moon Valley was worse than Combs Ferry. As far as what happened, Moon Valley was definitely more terrifying than Combs Ferry, and Combs
Yeah,
Ferry was creepy as hell. But Moon Valley, man, we were all like grabbing weapons and looking to get back to the truck as fast as we could. Uh, oh, sorry, I got to set up a little bit. I feel like Santa Claus with this bright red hoodie on.
well, you in the North Pole right now, apparently.
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty damn cold. And I don't understand Harley. He's a short-haired dog. You'd think he'd go out, do his business, and haul his ass right back in the house. Mm-mm. No, you let him out in the backyard. That little turd's out there 25 minutes just piddling around in the yard. I don't know if you guys have had a dog do something like this, but that dog is such an ornery little turd. I love him to death, but he aggravates the crap out of my next door neighbor's dogs. My next door neighbor's dog, they have next door neighbors have like 5 dogs, and they bark like crazy. Harley's not much of a barker, but he will go over to the fence and stand there and look at them. If they don't bark at him, he'll like jump at them and to get them to jump up and come barking at him. And once they're all got their attention on him and barking at him, he'll turn and pee on the fence right in front of him and walk away. He's such a little turd, instigating little brat. He won't bark back at him, and he is not scared of him in the least. But he will aggravate the piss out of him and then go in the house. Northwoods hardly doesn't like the snow. And if it's raining, he'll look at you. He'll stand on the back porch and look at you like, I'm peeing in the house tonight. You know that, right? He does it, but he will run out in the rain and pee and then run right back in. He doesn't like bad weather, but the cold doesn't seem to faze him in the slightest. I'm sorry, Arlen. Brother, I'm sorry. I, I understand. Whew. Folks, I may have to start winding things down just so I can go warm up in the other room. I'm going to try to get some writing done tonight, but it'll probably be in my laptop in my recliner in there where the heat's at. Um, Northwood says my parents were married one day short of 62 years when my dad passed away. That's a long time together. You you
Mhm.
don't you don't see that often anymore. Toshi, yeah, it does seem to put a smile on his face. He comes back in just like he done something big. He doesn't just so much walk back into the house after he leaves the fence as he will pee on it right where they're at, like almost on them, and then turn back and boop 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 back to the house like he just did the greatest thing on the planet. And he's got to think that's funny because he comes trotting back in the house like a kid that just opened a Christmas present.
So you see what I did, Dad?
Look, you see that? I showed did, didn't I?
So
Well, Arlen, I get you, brother. In fact, if it weren't for a net, I'd probably be dead. I don't admit this too terribly often, but when I met Annette, I was drinking a minimum of a fifth a day. I'd pretty much given up on myself and everything. Um, I was a heavy drinker. I was heading down a bad path, and you know, I was running with a crowd I probably should have been running with, and I don't know what it is, but she saw in me, but she 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 cleaned me up and got me straightened out, made me quit drinking, and I will drink today. I mean, but if I've got a whole liquor shelf over here, but I'll probably have that when I die. I mean, I don't drink that much. I mean, I'll have a glass once in a while. If we toast, I do a toast with one, but yeah, I just really don't drink that much. Once in a while. But you know, for the longest time I didn't even do that. It's only in the last decade or so that I've kind of gotten back to having a glass of whiskey once in a while. But it's never more than one. But she cleaned me up and put me back together, and I was on a pretty bad downward spiral. And I don't, again, like I said, I don't know what she saw in me, but she cleaned me up, put me back together, and gave me something to care about. And if it weren't for her, I would not be here today, guaranteed. She definitely did, Tammy. She definitely did.
Well, you want to wrap her up so you can go warm up beside her
Yeah,
down there, DA?
yeah, I think we'll probably do that. I'll probably go in there and get my laptop out and sit in the recliner next to her and thaw out. Um, but folks, thank you guys for hanging out with us. I know we didn't get any writing done tonight. That was originally the plan. But I didn't want to just cancel the show, even though I know it was cold back here. But I thought I'd be able to just gut through it and get through a couple hours of just writing. But the longer I sat back here getting prepped up for the show, I'm like, God dang it, it's cold back here. And decided I probably ought to do something a little different tonight. Next week will be different because tonight or tomorrow, me and Nick will dig out that little electric fireplace. I'm going to set it up right over here next to the desk. So it ought to be much warmer in here next week. But until we get it set up, I'll be doing my writing in the recliner with my laptop. Um, Chicken Bird says I have a cat in my lap keeping me warm. I don't have a cat, and Hartley's too big to crawl on my lap. I don't even want to know what 100 pounds of dog would look like in this desk chair, because he's a big old boy. He takes up the chair. But folks, I appreciate each and every one of you guys, and those y'all that have written books. Amy, I mentioned that. I remember you mentioned that. I can't remember who else was that mentioned it, but email me the links, and we'll be happy to share them on the show. I mean, I'm not kidding. We are all about supporting our fellow authors. Let me run over there real quick, Robbie, and see if I've gotten any of those links so we can share them tonight.
Yep.
Let me switch over to my email.
Yes, AJ, we'll be having a show Wednesday night.
Yeah.
We know that's New Year's Eve, right? What, Wednesday, New Year's Eve?
Yes. Going off grid with Sandy and Steve. They sent me one. Okay. Let me open it, make sure the link works. Ooh, that looks good. Looks like a good book. Let me copy the link. Okay. Folks, this is Going Off Grid's book. It's called My Journey with a Bigfoot Named Kai. It's in paperback. $14.99 paperback. That's a good deal on a paperback. It's available in hardcover, paperback, and Kindle. If you read a lot on Kindle, which is the way most of my book sales are, Uh, I think is it $9.99 in Kindle? It says minus 33. Yeah, $9.99 in Kindle, which is still a good deal for a Kindle book. Looks like it's a pretty decent sized book. So definitely check it out. I think you guys will enjoy it. And I'm gonna get it and put it in my to be read pile. I may not get to it right away, but I've got a whole bunch of books on my reading list that I've got to get to. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna get a copy of that and check it out. But again, it's called My Journey with a Bigfoot Named Kai. Sounds really cool. So hopefully you guys will check it out. The link's right there in the chat. Roxanne says best way to celebrate New Year's Eve with the Nightmare Hunters. Well, we appreciate that, Miss Roxanne. You're one of the Nightmare Hunters too. Don says added it to my to read list. There we go. So folks, if you got some Audible credits, because I know you not Audible, but if you get some Kindle credits, because those can add up pretty quick. If you got some Kindle credits from Christmas that are laying around, pick up that book. Give it a read. You might just find a new favorite, and I'll be reading it myself here pretty soon. But hope you guys check it out. Hope you guys enjoy it. And Amy, send me the link to yours, and I will definitely show it on here. If you want to email it to me, the email address is daroberts@daroberts.net. So just shoot that to me when you get a chance, and we'll be happy to talk about it and share it on the show and recommend folks give it a try. Anytime going off grid, anytime, and I hope you get a whole bunch of sales from it. I really do. And again, we've said it before. We're all about supporting our fellow authors. We really are. And while you're at it, check out Miss Luca's books. Luca T. Jacobs, she's an awesome writer, very prolific writer. Got a whole bunch of books to keep you busy. And if you like me and Robbie's style, you'll like hers too, because she's got a similar style, and she tells a mean cryptid story. So check her books out. And again, you can check out Robbie's newest one, Avalon Rising, part of the Grail series. That book is pretty damned awesome, and I think you're going to like it. And he's got 7 books out now.
Yep, 7, and working on 8 and 9.
7, getting ready to be finished with 8 and 9. So check all of those out. You can find every one of those on Amazon.com in Kindle print, paperback, and audio. And same thing with mine. You can find all of mine in Kindle print. Even some of them are in hardback. I'm working on getting the rest of them in hardback. Kindle print, hardback, and audio, and they're right there. I mean, you can get you a whole book and a whole adventure for about what you spend on a cup of coffee every day. So hope you guys will check them out, because it means the world to us independent writers. Every sale counts. And don't forget to leave a review, folks. Same thing for Amy and for Off Grid's books. If you pick up that book, leave them a review, because reviews drive sales. Amazon doesn't even really start pushing your book until you've got at least 50 reviews. So even if it's read it, enjoyed it, thank you, that kind of thing, good book, just doesn't have to be a big monster review. Just something as simple as, I enjoyed this book immensely, check it out. That is still a great review, and every one of them do count. So leave reviews for your favorite authors. If you haven't had a chance to review any of our books, please do, because those really do drive sales, and it would make an author's day to see those reviews pop up, because they get you farther into that Amazon algorithm. And until you get noticed by the algorithm, you're going to be struggling for sales. And even afterwards, you're still going to be working your butt off. But remember, indie authors, we don't have the backing of a big publishing company. We don't have $100,000 publication budget for promoting the books. We're doing it all on our own dime, on our own time, and it's a slow and painful process. When I first wrote the Ragnarok books, I read a book about book marketing, and I didn't realize what rabbit hole that was going to lead me down. But the marketing when I started out writing books, I had no desire to be a marketer, and it's still something I struggle with. I'm not very good at it. I try something, and if it works, I try it again. If it doesn't work, I try something else. So it's not like I really know what I'm doing. But the first book I read said building a following for a book, they likened it to pushing a snowball up a mountainside. And the farther you push, the bigger that snowball gets as you gather more snow. And the struggle gets harder and harder, but you will reach it. You will eventually reach what they call the tipping point, when you reach the top of that hill and the snowball takes off on its own. And I have not reached that point yet. It is a struggle to get there. Eventually, it'll be like, like, for example, just pulling an example out of my hat. Let's say Stephen King releases a book tomorrow. Stephen King will sell 100 million copies of that book just because he wrote it, without any marketing, without any publication, just an email going out said Stephen King released a new book. The man could write his name on a napkin and it'd be a bestseller. I'm not there, but I am much farther than I was 15 years ago when I started this process. So I'm not Stephen King. I'm not Jonathan Mayberry. I'm not even trying to be the next Stephen King or Jonathan Mayberry. I just want to be me. I'm not Stephen King. I'm not Jonathan Mayberry. I'm not Robert Jordan. I'm D.A. Roberts. That's all I want to be. And I want to tell the stories that I tell, and I want to share them with you folks. And I want to keep growing the audience and getting my name farther out there. And if any of the lessons I've learned along the way, I can share with folks like Robbie or Luca or anyone, any author I know. If there's anything I've learned along the way, I'm happy to share it. I may not be, up there with the Stephen Kings, but I'm a lot farther along than I was when I published my first book 15 years ago. So again, I may not be on the top rung of the ladder, but I ain't on the bottom rung either. I'm on the ladder, but I'm happy to reach down and help somebody up to where I'm at. And if they take what they learned from me and run with it, good for them. I ain't going to be jealous in the slightest, because I'll be proud of them. And I might go, hey, how'd you do it? Tell me what you did. But, I'm happy to help people up to where I'm at. I just, I'm still trying to get to the top of that ladder myself, and I got a ways to go. Right, Wyatt? Thank you, brother. Don says Amazon hardly ever sends me any of your guys' books an email. I think it only does in the month you release a book. I think that is the only time they put it out. Amazon doesn't do a whole lot. And I've tried purchasing Amazon ads, and to be honest, they didn't do squat. Same thing with Facebook ads. They didn't help me in the slightest. All they did was cost me money. And so I don't do that anymore. I've got a different thing I do now. And it's kind of hit or miss whether it works. And it's just one of those things that I would love to know more about the marketing side. I just really suck at it. But I can tell you one thing, is Robbie can attest to this, and there's folks in the audience right now that have met me, like at conventions or know me in real life, that can attest to this. The guy you see right here, this ugly fat guy in the Santa Claus St. Louis Cardinal sweater, I ain't no different if you run into me at Walmart. This is who I am. I don't put on airs. I ain't nobody special. I'm just a hillbilly from the sticks of Missouri, and it's all I'm ever going to be. And if you meet me at a meet and greet, or if you meet me at a convention, or run into me at Walmart or at a diner somewhere, you're going to see the same version of me you see on here. Ain't nothing different. Same thing with Robbie. Same thing with Doc. We're just who we are, and we're not planning on changing for anything. So that's just how it's going to be. Same thing with my writing. I don't know how to be anybody else. I'm just going to be me. Robbie, you got anything to add to that, brother?
Same thing. I mean, I've said it. I know what you say, but I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I wouldn't be where I am right now if it wasn't for you and the help and guidance that you gave me. And
I'm happy to do it.
And for you out there in the chat, the audience here, and on Wednesdays and Saturdays. I mean, I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for y'all buying my books, for DA teaching me, and forever grateful from that for that. And it's just I can never thank y'all enough for that kind of stuff. I'm DA says it all the time. I'm my worst critic. I never think that my stuff's good enough, and
I'm the same way, brother.
And that goes for my books, my laser engravings, and my knives, everything. I never feel like they're. I always feel like I could do better. I'm always in competition with myself, nobody else.
Charlie, come here, buddy.
And same thing. I'm not as far along as DA is, but any help that I can give anybody, I'm glad to help. And it's just it's like he says, it's a journey we all go on together. Whether it be you're just reading the books, or you're here, you're helping us out, giving us ideas on this show, or
thank you, Sam. Thank you.
It's like he said, you got to be true to yourself. And I only want to write the stories. Like he told me, he said, if you don't write stories that you want to read, nobody else will want to read them either.
Yeah, first and foremost, that's something I try to tell anybody that asks me for advice about writing. First and foremost, write for yourself. Because if you don't love what you're writing, no one else is gonna. You've got to love what you're writing. Thank you, Chicken Bird. Appreciate you.
And thanks, Nick. I appreciate that. Yeah. Nick had a long conversation with DA and I in Ohio.
Yeah, it was cool hanging out talking to Nick. We got to talk to some awesome folks at that conference. Sure did.
And as far as things like that go, be standing by, because there's some stuff in the works. We can't say anything yet, but there is some stuff in the works. So hopefully there's going to be a time in the next couple months, y'all might get to come hang out with us. Me, DA, and Doc, and some other people.
And some other folks. Yeah, the event's not ours to announce, so we're not going to announce it until they're ready. But we're planning on being there, and I think it's going to be a heck of a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And we are looking at doing another Missouri excursion sometime soon. We'll be filming that and getting some good footage. And I picked up a couple of low light cameras, and they weren't expensive ones. I got them off Temu, for God's sake. But if they work even halfway like they're supposed to, I think we're going to get some good footage with them. They're not 4K. They're not great quality, but they are thermal. And if they work the way I'm hoping, yeah, we've got a whole new set of tools in the tool bag. Robbie's got night vision now. Doc's got night vision now. We got Noah a set of night vision for Christmas. Looking to get me one later, but we were getting stuff for Christmas, and so little by little we're getting more and more tools in our tool bags, and having to do it a little at a time, because like I said, this is all on our own dime. But we have fun doing it, and we enjoy sharing it with you all, and we enjoy hanging out with you guys, and like I've said, like Robbie was saying, I've said it for years. Stories are journeys that we take together, and I'm thrilled to death y'all have taken this journey with us. And I think these journeys are just getting started. We got a lot more stories to tell. What? Yeah, and an audio recorder.
Well, Steve's got one that
Steve's got one yet. I've got to get with Steve and get that from him, and we're gonna connect that to the what do you call that thing? The boom mic, the
shotgun mic, or
shotgun mic, yeah,
or the parabolic.
Yeah, the parabolic mic. Because that thing, for being a cheapie, works really good. Yeah. You just got to be real quiet when you use it, because even though that parabolic is facing away from you, you can hear your own breathing, and it sounds like Parmafe from the Kolchak the Nightstalker. You're just going like that, and it sounds like it's real loud. So you've got to breathe real quiet when you've got that thing on, because you can hear yourself, and you can hear your own foot like shuffling on the ground. So that thing's very sensitive. And we need to find a way to get some air support Well, I don't think we got that kind of scratch coming anytime soon, so I don't think we're going to be getting that. But we do have a couple of drones. They ain't armed, but they're just drones. But there's some places I want to get those drones into. Mainly, what I would like to do, Robbie, is I would like to take both our drones out to Moon Valley, and since that whole area is no trespassing, I'd like to send them across those fields and up to those caves.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
And we can do that without getting on their land. We can sit there on the bridge and fly them right up to those caves. And I'd be real interested to see what's in those caves. Because a couple of those, the only way to get to them would be with rappelling gear.
Yeah, especially those we saw when just me and you went down there that time.
Mm-hmm. Those ones that are on the
if you're coming in from the dollhouse side, the ones
mm-hmm.
up on the left, way up on the bluff.
Yeah, those ones like that are on the other side too, but they're pretty far over there. And I'm pretty sure that the battery would last to get them over there because it's only probably a half mile over.
But you can't see those other ones on the other side. You can't see those from the road though, right?
Right. Yeah, because of all the overgrowth.
Yeah, the ones on the left we could see from, at least the time me and you were there, we could see them from the road.
No, just a guy. These are different caves. The one with the concrete and caged walls, that's out at Smiddle Cave. And we're going back out there too, because I've discovered through some friends that know that area that have deer hunted out there, that Smiddle is not the only cave out there. There's 4 or 5 others if you could find them. And I think I know where 3 of them are, but I've got a buddy that grew up in that area around Grove Springs. You're supposed to be getting with him like sometime in January after the holidays, and us go out there together and him show me exactly where the other caves are. And so the next time I got Doc and Robbie in the area, we're going to go out there and because you can camp out there, we might go out there and set up a base camp and check out those caves, because I got a feeling we're going to get some really good footage out there because that area is riddled with sightings. Now, Kevin, doesn't necessarily require expensive equipment, but yeah, we're little by little picking up our inventory where we've got better low light capability and and things like that. So yes, I'm still wanting to go to Drury Mincy, Wyatt. I want to get at least 6 or 8 people when we go down there. I'm gonna want to make a recon run in the daytime sometime soon. That'll probably just be enough people to fill my car, just four of us, everybody armed. We'll just go down there. The plan is to just go down there and drive through and like pull back into some of those campsites and stuff and see what we can see in broad daylight without going in the woods. And then when we go back out there at night, of course, we're going to get a little more in depth. But yeah, I'm definitely planning on going to Drury Mincy soon. Anything else we want to cover?
No,
Hell, we already talked about 2 hours.
Yep.
Coming up on the 2-hour mark.
No, I think we've hit pretty much everything that we were talking about, or we were planning on talking about.
Cole? Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's looking likely. Roxanne says, "Please, DA, please retell the story." Which story? Which one? From Drury Mincy or from Combs Ferry or Moon Valley? Which story? I'm going to throw this up on the screen again. Y'all don't forget to check out Lucas' books. She is awesome.
Yep.
You guys will definitely enjoy it. And I put Off Grid's link up again. Cole says all of the above. I don't know if I want to get into telling all those stories tonight. I want to wait and tell some of those stories when I've got some heat back here. Yeah. I don't think I would have. I could spend another hour talking about everything that's happened in those places. But Drury Mincy is going to be dangerous. No way around it. It's going to be dangerous. Because the story behind Drury Mincy was allegedly earlier in 2025, this year, sometime around about this time of year, I think it was last January, some kids got chased out of there by what they described as bipedal mountain lions. And when the Missouri Conservation went in to check it out, they ended up actually shooting at the things before they got out of there. And then right before the big summer camping season kicked off, they, without warning, closed the campground at Drury Mincy. You can't even get into it. So I think that there's a big connection there. Yeah, so I want to get into Drury Mincy, into some of the off the grid places, including a couple of spots that I'm pretty sure we're only going to be able to get to by boat.
Yep. Go ahead and wind her up, DA. You're going to end up getting sick if you keep staying back here talking.
Yeah, I'm I'm freaking cold. I haven't taken my hands out of my hoodie pocket in a while. Yeah, I'm going to go in the living room and warm up. I'm going to put on some thermals. I've got some flannel sleep pants, night pants that I got for Christmas, pajama pants. I'm going to switch into those. I'm wearing jeans right now. Flip on those and put on my my house shoes and warm up. But folks, thank you guys for hanging out with us. I'm sorry we didn't get any writing done tonight, but we did get to talk about it a lot, and that's part of the process too. Is seeing behind the curtain is not just the writing; it's learning that there's a lot more to it than just the writing. And like I warned Robbie, I said once you get that book done, work's just getting started, and I wasn't kidding. It really is. It is becomes a full-time job to write and market and to try to drum up interest for your books and talk about them and to plan the next book. There's a lot more work involved than anybody realizes, from the writing to the editing to the alpha and beta readers to marketing to publishing the book, formatting, layout, cover art. There's just a lot of work involved, and it for the most part it's a labor of love because you're lucky if you break even. But yeah, as indie authors, we love all the support and the love we get from y'all, because it vindicates what we're doing. It shows that we don't have to have Random House or Bantam Books behind us in order to tell our stories. And I think that the indie market is telling some of the best stories out there, because in order for you to get your book published with one of those big publishing houses, they got final say so on what goes in the book. We don't have that problem. We write the stories we want to write, and with the editors that we have, our editors will look over it and fix it for the story we want to tell, not the story the editors insist we tell. So you're not going to find that our books, and I'm not trying to upset anybody. Our books are never going to tick off check marks, because we tell the stories we want to tell. We don't tell the stories that they insist we tell. So you're never going to find us telling anything but the stories we want to tell, and that's the way it's going to always be. And I'm glad you guys enjoy those stories, and I really appreciate each and every one of you guys being with us on this journey. It's been a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see where it takes me in the next 15 years. Arlen says there's a video on YouTube about national parks that are permanently closed. Interesting. Arlen, can you email me that link? I'd like to check that out. Kevin, thank you, sir. We appreciate that. But folks, as we're winding it down, don't forget, Amy, send me the link to your book, and I will get that put on here. Let me see if he's... Oh, Don sent it. Okay. Don, is that a link? Or do I need to find it on Amazon? Because it just says the title. What just popped up on my screen? I'll see if I can find it. Oh, okay. I think I found it right off the bat. Is it called The Wicked Current, A Message, Amy? Because Don sent me one called the Wicked Current. He sent me the title, and this one, the authors are Ray Self and Amy Self. Let me copy that and make sure the link works. Oh yeah, the link works. Okay. All right then. Okay, well then I'm going to put Amy's link in here as well. The book is called The Wicked Current, A Message. The description says, stranger Adam Troop appears at Jenny's doorstep in the Missouri Ozarks during the height of the Depression. Young Jeannie instantly trusts this wise wanderer. His skills and kindness are invaluable to her family as they deal with the troublesome times and menacing neighbors. But who is he? After a fall in a cave, Adam is transported back to his youth. He relives his time with the Cheyenne, the Battle of Washita, and his role in the Sam Bass Gang. Jenny will use her wits and skills Adam taught her in what will be a life and death battle. Sounds really cool. Down home, brutal, hilarious, and poignant. The Wicked Current was written in a trance by the author after a series of paranormal events. That's cool. There are actual people who lived on and around the Current River. The appendix has symbols from the latter trance writings that beg for explanation and corroboration. Well, I'm telling you, that area down around the Current, that is some woolly territory. That's down by Eminence, Missouri, and there are both Dogman and Bigfoot sightings down there. That's where they reintroduced elk, just out of the blue, about 20 years ago. So it makes you wonder, what they might have been trying to feed by reintroducing elk. But the population of elk has exploded, and they're actually starting to allow limited hunts because the last of the elk originally were driven out of Missouri in late 1800s sometime. But anyway, that's the link to Amy's book. I hope you guys will check it out. Give it a read. Sounds like a fun read. Sounds like an interesting read, to say the least. And check it out. Check out Off Grid's book as well. And let's show them some love. And while you're at it, leave them some reviews because it looks like Amy's only has 11 reviews. We can fix that. I mean, we can fix that. Let's get some more reviews up there. And the other one, let me check it real quick. It has 8 reviews. Yes, we can definitely fix that. 11 and 8 reviews. Come on, folks. Go over there and leave them a review. Let's see if we can get this into the Amazon algorithm for them and get them noticed. Get them some sales. So check out those 2 links, and you might be helping another indie get their name out there, and we would really appreciate that. Yep, Chicken Bird, absolutely. I'm going to leave some reviews myself here in a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and buy both of those and get them on my Kindle, then I can leave a review. But check those out. Check out those links. And I hope you guys have a ton of success and a lot of outpouring of love from folks in the chat. So if you can, you can take a minute. If you got some Amazon credits, pick up those books. That's a great way to help them. Help them get out there. Let's get some sales for them and get some reviews in. And while you're at it, again, make sure you're reviewing Lucas' books and Robbie's books and my books, because every review counts. It literally, they really do. Even if it's just good book, if you just wrote good book, that is still a great review. So, if you get a chance, swing by, leave some reviews, show some love, and let's help give a couple more indie authors' names out there. That would just be awesome. And folks, we appreciate each and every you guys hanging out with us. It has been awesome, if not a cold night, but it has definitely been awesome hanging out with y'all. I would love to have done some writing, but I'm going to have to wait for my hands to quit hurting. I've got some fingerless gloves that Annette bought me for arthritis, so I can type when my hands get to hurting real bad. But they don't always help because they're not very thick. I want to get some of the ones that have they're battery powered. They run off, I think it's a 9-volt, and they're for people with arthritis in their hands. And those gloves warm up from the battery, and when it gets really cold, especially if it's humid cold, that high humidity cold really gets into your bones. And Missouri's like that. We don't just have cold; we have damp cold, and that'll get you. But yeah, I'm gonna get a set of those, and I'm sure those will help. But I'm gonna wait and get those after I get paid again, because once we pay bills, we're broke again. Yeah, we got more bills left at the end of the month than we got month. But that is what it is. We'll get there eventually. Lori Biggs says it was in the 30s on the Kitsap Peninsula, Washington. Yeah, it's in the low 20s here. It may actually have dropped since we started the show. I'm going to take a look. It says 20 degrees now. Feels like 10. Yeah, so it dropped by a degree, but still feels like 10. So, yeah, it's bitter, nasty cold. And it wouldn't be so bad if the wind wasn't blowing. It can be cold, and as long as there's no wind, you're all right with it. Now, when that wind's blowing, it's like getting slashed in the face by a razor blade. It cuts you to the bone. But yeah, I'm going to head in there and get warm. And I wanted to thank you guys for hanging out with us, and check out those books by Amy and by Off Grid. That would mean the world to me if you guys could show them a little love and help get their name out there a little bit. Leave them some reviews. That would be fantastic. And we will see you guys on Wednesday night. I'll have my heater in here on Wednesday night. Things will be better. And I'll try to get that show up tomorrow, so we can start getting it out there. But again, thanks folks for hanging out with us. Robbie, thank you for hanging out. You've got the AC on, you said, so you're in a lot warmer place. But hey, is what it is. And we'll be back with you guys on Wednesday night. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. And don't forget to check out our affiliates and good folks over at Dark Angel Medical, darkangelmedical.com. Use discount code Cryptid20. Check out the good folks over at Scallywag Tactical, scallywagtactical.com. Discount code DA Roberts 10. And the good folks at SigwoArms.com, Sigwo Arms. Check them out and use discount code Bigfoot5 for 5% off. Great groups, all veteran-owned, first responder-owned. We're proud to support them. So, folks, we're going to close her out. I don't even know if I get anything to toast with. I think I just got water. I guess water will have to do because I ain't got anything else handy. And it's out of my great big stainless steel water bottle. But we're going to close her out with the toast. And then we will see you guys on Wednesday night. And we'll bring the toast up. Let me see. Where's it at? Oh, here we go. Robbie, you want to take us out?
Sure thing. Raise a glass. Sing along with us. Not like we're singing, but say along with us. There are good ships and wooden ships and ships that sail the sea, but the best ships are friendships, and may they always be. Sanjava. We'll see you guys Wednesday night. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Thank you guys for being with us. We'll see you on Wednesday night.
Plains, the winds are howling, saloon doors swinging, shadows growling. 3 lawmen stand tough as rawhide. Yeah, Doc and DA, nothing can abide. Whiskey shots and poker faces, staring down the darkest spaces in this town where legends roam. These boys bring justice, sending evil home. Cryptid lawmen, wild and free, hunting monsters for all to see. With silver bullets and grit of steel, they fight the darkness, make the demons squeal. From dusty canyons to moonlit plains, justice rides with wind and rains. Cryptid lawmen, a fearsome sight, standing tall against the endless night. Jed's a howler, claws of steel. Doc's a biter, makes the devil real. But DA's a shifty one, a shape-shifting soul. Can turn to anything, takes any form, takes control. Tonight the chupacabras come to town, sucking the life from all around. But these lawmen, they ain't afraid. They'll face the darkness unafraid. Cryptid lawmen, wild and free, hunting monsters for all to see. With silver bullets and grit of steel, they fight the darkness, make the demons squeal. From dusty canyons to moonlit plains, against the endless night. Bat wings flap, the air grows cold, a chilling trap. But these lawmen, they're ready to fight underneath the pale moonlight. Jet and dock transform with a howl. DA ships becomes a night owl. Together they stand a force so strong against the evil right in the road. Cryptid lawmen, wild and free, hunting monsters for all to see. With silver bullets and grit of steel, they fight the darkness, make the demons squeal. From dusty canyons to moonlit plains, justice rides with wind and rains. Cryptid lawmen, a fearsome sight, standing tall against the endless night.